That's right, it's Nick Dutch back on the camera again one more time. And for that one particular special YouTube user out there, a special greeting for felines. Either way, you've got your special greeting for felines. I know you wanted it, and I'm sure your cat is very happy now. Okay, alright. Before I get on to the body of this video, just a very quick reminder. Yes, I'm still very serious about the Off-Grid project, and I'm adding videos every single day now on the Get Me Off-Grid video blog. So that's youtube.com/user/getmeoffgrid, all one word, all lowercase. Okay, so you can have a look at that, subscribe and follow all of my talkings about like energy and how to cook without all that much in the way of fuel and all that kind of stuff, and cutting costs down and so on and so forth, which is cool. Also, as well, you know, I'm running that particular video blog so I can raise money so that I can then go completely and utterly off grid and show other people how I'm doing it. Alright, and that can then help other people if they want to go self-sufficient, or if they want to try and take their existing methodologies of living and try and find ways of cutting down costs, living more economically, or designing and building things at home that they want to use to try and make things work out better for them energy-wise, so heating, all the rest of that, you know. That's why it's there. But even if you like the things that I talk about on this channel, okay, I'm going to leave the donation link in the information box below. So feel free to visit there, and if you like what I'm talking about anyway, do make a donation. I'm going to keep that running. Full stop, finito. I'm going to keep that running, and I'll take the pennies or the pounds or the threepenny bits or whatever it is you want to give me, and it's all going to go towards the project in the long term. Okay? This I promise. Fact. And I won't be taking any money out of that until the time is right. Okay? But anyway, let's get on with the body of the video. Quite simply entitled, Is This Real Magic? This YouTube user has emailed me and said, I was recently shown this video by a friend on some really weird physics. Yeah, physics is really weird. Especially really weird physics, which is also really weird. I'm going to sound like the Doctor, aren't I? Anyway, here we go. Which demonstrates the universe as a hologram. Well, the way I understand it, the holographic model is, it works mathematically. In accordance with all their equations, it works mathematically that everything's made up of numbers, and it is very vaguely possible that we don't actually exist as physical forms. We are just projections from the outside, the event horizon on the very edge of our universe. This is some of the hypotheses which have come out, but these are still hypothetical, but they're both based mathematically, okay? Whenever I personally have watched any of those documentaries about quantum physics and how strange the universe is, you always get someone who's been researching this field for like 30 years or something along those lines, and they say that, well, you know, the experiments prove that the universe works like this, and it's weird and it shouldn't. Our mathematics prove conclusively that the universe works like this and it shouldn't, and we don't understand why. We just got to accept the fact that there is weird stuff in the universe. There is spooky action at a distance between electrons, and when there is, you know, observation of certain forms of quantum phenomena happening, that stops the quantum effect from happening. So you can't, I mean, there are quantum computers which are now built. I saw one being demonstrated and talked about on a documentary. And you know, you can have like 1 and 0 as the two states on your standard digital computer. Okay, 1 and 0, on and off, basically. Well, on one of these more complex computers, you can have 3 states per electron. They can either be going around clockwise or anti-clockwise or vertically one way or another, I think, or some other combination. But there's 3 states, not just 2, which can increase the rate of computation. The way that it was described when I saw that documentary was that if as much as one single electron from outside of the system observes the quantum effects of the electrons within the system, then the quantum effect will break down. Therefore, it's a very sensitive system. So it's almost like things, you know, electrons can notice electrons behaving weirdly, and will then stop the electrons which are behaving weirdly from behaving weirdly. almost as if the electrons were alive, which is weird. And then there's all of the experiments, like the double slit experiment, which changes in the results when you're actually observing the operation, the effect happening, suggesting that observation is part of it. Now you can then take the whole thing a little further to what Dean Radin was talking about, suggesting that intention and attention was important when creating psi effects, which I believe could have some validity to it. Okay, but is that Dean Radin was talking about necessarily the same as either the holographic model of the universe or this quantum spooky action at the distance stuff? Are they all part of the same phenomenon? The bottom line is we still don't know. And so we have to stop right there and admit that we don't know, but there is weird stuff that we can look into. So it's going to give us that feeling of no authority in the world knows, full stop, finito, the end, how it all works. We just have to accept the fact that no authority in the world knows. We don't have an agreed upon model. I mean, physical universe, Newtonian physics, no problem. When it gets on to quantum stuff and consciousness, we're at a loss. So, relax. Now, the private message goes on. And how that hologram could be hacked by reprogramming its quantum computations. Well, this is where it gets even weirder. It does, it gets really weird now. Because throughout the whole history of humanity, whenever we've been talking about, like, the brain, for instance, we would always draw analogies to the technological developments at the time. Like, initially, in the days of, before the silicon chip, people, scientists would talk about the brain in terms of, like, wires, copper wires, and valves, and that's as far as it went. And then we went on to the microchip and the CPU. People said the brain was like a CPU, and like your entire brain structure was like a computer circuit board, and your entire nervous system was like the peripherals of your PC system, and so on and so forth. So when someone uses the word hacked, they're thinking in the same kind of way. They're trying to use modern technological terminology to try and explain something which they don't understand. Now, the very fact they don't understand it means that you should call into question what they're saying. Because if the scientists don't know enough about the natural worlds to do with quantum phenomenon to be able to come out with a hard and fast, concrete, universally agreed upon, basically model, universally agreed upon by the scientists, okay, then how on earth can anybody say that they can hack into this massive quantum computery, timey-wimey weird stuff? They can't. No one can actually say that without someone like me turning around and saying, you're making something up, aren't you? Because you don't know what you're talking about and you want it to sound really, really impressive, so you're going to use words like hacked. Naughty, naughty. Okay? Don't do it. It's wrong. The private message goes on. This is going to sound nuts, but he said he thought it was actually magic, like real occult magic. Well, again, we don't know. This is all still hypothetical. And as far as the real occult magic stuff is concerned, all we've got is some strange experiences to go by. And there are some people, like your friend, who's decided to extrapolate too far and to suggest that he's got like official practical proof, so to speak, that his hypothesis, this thesis that he's got, that all this stuff that the natural scientists don't fully understand, he understands so much that he can say that he's actually programming in the universe. Which is daft. It's wrong. And it's a bit sort of intellectually sort of pooey, really. So he's not really bright enough. Your friend is bright enough to be able to razzle-dazzle people with words, which sound cool. But on the other hand, does he actually know how to think about the phenomenon at hand? No, he doesn't. He's a wanker. Okay, he's a nothing. Complete nothing. Now, there may still be something to do with consciousness and a weird quantum way in which the universe works. There may be. But what I'm attacking is the way he uses his language and his thoughts when approaching these phenomena. Because your language and your thoughts are things which can make up your model of the world. So, if he's saying hacked, I mean a computer programmer who knows the code on a web page, let's say, and knows how to hack it, will be able to reliably 100% every single time with that particular code, with their knowledge, change the web page. Try and do that with something that's as complex as the universe, why not? Go on in, give it a go. Well, go to a cancer ward and go and cure everybody. Aye, you can do that if you can hack the universe. Aye, I'm sure you can. Bollocks. Absolute bollocks. If he thinks he can hack the universe, then he should work in a cancer ward, and he should go around curing people of cancer. And if I haven't been able to give up my smoking, then basically he can cure me too. Now, it says here, could you look at this over and tell me what's going on here? Especially the last 3 minutes, it gets pretty weird. Well, no, I'm not going to watch the video. And you know why? Because I've seen too many of them. And remember that a lot of the stuff on YouTube is there to make you think, ooh. That's it. And to confuse you. And to make pretenses at educating you when in fact they might not be. Alright? But a lot of the quantum weird videos are just very quantum and weird. Alright? I mean, the real proper stuff that comes out of real proper scientists is still very, 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 very weird. But on the other hand, do you need to know it? Do you personally need to know it? So as far as like anyone who comes up to you and says like, you know, the universe is a hologram, yes. We can hack it, yes. We can reprogram it, yes. It works, yes. Tell them to go and work in a cancer ward. Seriously. Because they're not being analytical about the phenomena. They're not being analytical about the models of the way the world works. And basically, they're doing something which is intellectually inappropriate. Namely, although they can make some fun extrapolations, they're making too many of these fun extrapolations. And seeing their intellectual extrapolations as if they're hard and fast reality. So you've got to be careful about, you know, when you're listening to people who are pundits for quantum physics or for occult stuff. And there's lots of pundits out there. I myself am a pundit of sorts, okay? I know that. But I'm a pundit of the school of when we don't know something, we should be brave enough to be able to say, there's things I don't know. Because that's intelligence. I can tell you what I do know, and I can, using the right methods, demonstrate it. There are some things which I can say I kind of believe, and I can explain roughly why I kind of believe them, but I can't turn around to you and say that that's truth. I could say it's a truth, or a religious truth, or a spiritual truth, but those things aren't necessarily true, if you understand what the word truth actually means. Okay, it can be a truth, but it's not fact. I hope I've kind of like explained stuff, and it makes kind of like sense. And greetings to the cat, by the way. Hope you caught it Schrodinger. Have I pronounced that correctly? I don't know.